Here I am in Sacre Coeur, Paris, the only thing in Paris I've never visited that's very notable. So look at that, with the skylight, as in Sacred Heart, the Sacred Heart of Jesus right in the center there. So it's the largest place of worship in Paris, apart from Notre Dame. And they began building this right after the First World War, 1919. It was the idea of the Bishop of Nantes say that, no, what am I talking about? After the defeat, the Franco-Prussian War in 1871. But they didn't finish it till 1914, right before the First World War. So France had lost the war against Germany in 1870, and they thought that was divine retribution for deviating from the path of righteousness. Now, there are French secularists, rationalists, who said this is absolute nonsense. It's to do with sort of whatever, the disorganization, not using la mitrailleuse enough, better German artillery and tactics and all the rest of it. Poor leadership by Napoleon III, the French mobilization too slow, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I thought they got a prayer somewhere up in German. I thought it was broad-minded of them. So they completed it right before the First World War with a cruel irony, but they didn't dedicate it to 1919 right after the First World War. So you can see it is gigantic. But look at the angels up there, for example. But it's actually slightly plain as Catholic churches go. It's not a cathedral, basilica, as in royal one in Greek. But Saint Denis, Saint Denis, he's the patron saint of Paris. He's buried here. But he's been buried here since about the 3rd century AD. And his tomb was always here, but they just built this enormous thing over it. That's what it looks like from the exterior. So plenty of anti-chapels. So I think it's fine, handsome. I wouldn't say exquisite. I deliberately avoided the word beautiful. There we go, the Virgin and Child. So there was a gaggle of Korean tourists here whom I just met. Look, St. Anthony of Padua, as in Italy, Padova. Italy, the French actually have different names for loads of the Italian cities. More so than any other country, they've got a slightly different name from the Italian version. Silence. We're not allowed to film or take photos, but loads of people are doing it. What are they going to do? I could go up for a panoramic view. So this is a whistle-top view. Mary of the Incarnation, and so on. So dedication to those of saints. Silence. And some other being loud. A lot of them can't read English or French or Spanish. I've seen signs in Chinese around. A lot of Chinese tourists too, because of course, look, the crib, they still haven't removed it. It's 26th of February, Republic Day in India, is that right? 26th of January, I mean, and Australia Day. What are the other things? Yeah, Chinese tourists, because it's Chinese New Year. Last week of January, first week of February, there's the fortnight holiday for Chinese school children. Okay, so there's something about praying the novena dedicated to Saint John Paul II. I forgot he'd been canonized, and so he prayed here once. Odd to think I'm in the place where the great man stood himself. So I suppose Saint Denis is buried somewhere in there. Okay. So that's it. So aesthetically pleasing. I wouldn't go so far as to say magnificent. There's so much more to see. I can go upstairs for a panoramic view. Haven't decided when I'm going to do so. So that is a quick tour of Sacre Coeur. What do you think? And some people say, oh, it was partly the reaction, building it here to celebrate snuffing out the, whatever it's called, the Commune of 1871. For about 2 months, communists or communards took over Paris, eventually defeated, crushed by the centre and right in French politics. Paris wasn't allowed its own mayor for almost a century after that. And oddly, Paris became the only metropolis in the world, really, to have a right-wing majority until the late 20th century. Most major cities tend to the left. Okay, I'll switch it off now. Back at the main entrance. Look at that for an organ. I do mean the musical instrument, not anything else. And there's the nave, le nef. They're temporarily doing up the altar.